Welcome back to Off Market, big episode number 10. We've made it to double
digits, yes.
Big 10.
Big 10.
Hey, well done, well done.
Too. Yeah, amongst a bit, we thrived, we got here.
We got here. Through it all. Now, as you can see, we are in a new location today, the beautiful Aston 238. It's a landmark development here in Leederville, 4 years in the making. And today we have actually booked our filming day on settlement day, so people are moving in. But we got sales agent Jason Kuriata from Realmark North Coastal to take us on a little tour around the property. All right, Jay, so you've been working on this one for 3 years. Tell me quickly about the project timeline.
Yes, the project timeline, we had a full-time sales office set up down at 324 Oxford Street, which allowed buyers to come through, look at the kitchens, the renders, and then walk to site. And we sold 50% in the first 5 weeks. It was the fastest development in REA in 2018 for Perth.
Wow, so what would you attribute to that?
Location, design, and everything that's on your doorstep. Obviously eateries, train, 51 eateries on your doorstep, and that's not counting Mount Hawthorn.
Yeah, beautiful. And this design is...
Yeah, this is a really cool design. So it's a northern southern corridor that allows light and fresh air to flow through the apartments.
Beautiful.
8 to go. Yeah, 8 to go. Relaunch tomorrow to the public between 10 and 1. Get in, they're not going to last.
Call Jason.
Thank you.
All right, so pretty impressive building. Very impressive.
Very fresh.
Very fresh, nice atrium there.
Like that fresh, the cleaners are still here.
They're here. It's like we're in Malibu.
Very nice. I like the openness. One thing I love about apartments, when they're open, you're having that lobby feel.
Yeah, it's not
I asked them to keep it concise today, so this is what we get. All right, guys. We're going straight into our first segment.
Okay.
Now, Roscoe, we've bumped you again. We're kicking off with a new segment. We're going to do In the Industry. It's a whole new world, Ross, and sometimes auctions don't cut it. So...
Jess, you know that hurts me deeply when you even intimate such a thing.
And we've got you another auction agent on as our guest today.
I know. I'm feeling the love.
You guys can pump that up later.
There's some bromance going on here, I can tell you.
But today we want to talk about some industry stuff that happened during the week. We had the REWA Awards for Excellence during the week.
Yeah.
Lots of celebrations. They were done online, a little bit different, so people partying in their offices. I wanted to talk to you about awards, and congratulations to all the winners, obviously. Throughout the year, we see a number of awards come up. I'm going to read a little list. So we've got the REWA Awards for Excellence, we've got the REWA.com Awards, the Rate My Agent Awards, the REIA National Awards for Excellence, the Real Estate Business Awards. I could go on and on. There's a few that we see.
Yep.
I want to ask, what do they mean? Are they important? I want to start with Ross, because I know I kind of know what Shane's thoughts are on this.
Do you? Wow.
Well, we'll see. We've spoken before, though, a little bit, and we know you're a Rate My Agent fan. Roscoe, from an agency point of view, what do you think of them? Are they good for business? Are they a recruitment tool? What's the benefit?
Look, first of all, Jess, I think it's Craig Gaspar from DUET here. I think DUET picked up Medium Business of the Year. So congratulations to Craig, Michelle and the team. I think it's important we acknowledge that. But look, the awards the other night were all by nomination. And look, to me, I'm a very black and white sort of guy, and I think those nominated type awards, as good as they are, they don't encourage enough people to nominate because the whole process is too onerous, and the whole judging criteria, I think, is too grey. And to be quite frank, there's a lot of cynicism that gets that permeates throughout the industry, because they go, well, how did they judge that? How did that person get the award? I think if you're going to have awards, number one, you need to compress them a bit, because the cold hard reality is this, that we are an industry based on numbers. It's a first over the post thing. And I think when you move away from that reality and you go into this subjectivity, it loses really the punch of what an award is. If you're going to have awards by nomination, then you need to do it so that it encourages everybody to be in it, and you need to be quite strict on and transparent of what the judging criteria is, and then there'll be more gravitas and more ownership of it, in my opinion.
So the REWA.com Awards obviously are the numbers, they're numbers based.
Yeah.
And that would be your kind of what you would hold up as the
Oscars of real estate.
The Oscars.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't fudge them.
No.
In saying that, there are agents out there who will say, you know, I have all these sales that aren't counted in those awards, or there's different, you know, whether you're assisted or unassisted, or
but I think, first of all, you might be the number one award winner, but in this industry, profitability is key. So if you've got these big super teams and everything's going into you, it's reality, it's an office, I think people know that. From my experience, and I've won both, number one agent for sales and most recommended with Rate My Agent. Rate My Agent, without a doubt, is most powerful because
for your buyers and your sellers.
Anyone, because it's actually the experience. You don't go to a restaurant and read what the restaurant says about the restaurant. I think to actually talk about someone's experience is pretty powerful. But then I look at the Realmark.com awards. Now, realistically, the only people that care about that, just my opinion, and I've won it, is other agents. No one says, Shane, you're number one at Rewa. I just haven't had that experience. Whether that's a marketing thing, I don't know. But
do the general public know what Rewa is?
Well, this is probably that thing about the excellence. I think, to me, that would be a perfect example of where they should have targeted maybe doing great things in the community. I think that's a great thing.
Yeah.
What you're doing, as I say, for your community, property management. I think property management, it's very hard to say on most leased properties.
Yeah.
You might be the worst leasing team in Australia. So the numbers there, but that's where I think they should have targeted that. Things that aren't as easy to quantify on numbers. But reality is, I mean, you'd agree, like, if you're a good agent, you'll probably get the good results.
Yeah.
You won't always get the good reviews. There's sometimes the top Realmark.com agent, I don't believe necessarily is the best agent in WA, but they've transacted the most. So you've got to really make it clear which is which.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
And self-nominating, it's all well and good for the agents to say, well, that's ridiculous, they shouldn't have won. But did you nominate?
Yeah.
So it's a bit when everyone
always
complains about.
If you're not in it, you can't win it. But
I think as a company, by all means, if you've won the award, go nuts, market it.
Yeah, 100%. If it's there to be, used.
Yeah.
Look, awards, like one of the questions, Jess, was, are these awards necessary? Or are awards? Look, they are. I mean, we need something to benchmark from. We need something for the industry, to understand and know that we do a good job. We do engage with the community. We have really professional people looking after their most important asset, and this is how it works. This is the inner workings of our industry.
Of the industry.
Yeah.
I think it's also a good opportunity when you win those awards as an office. Obviously, we use DUET as an example, got extremely high performers in that office. It's a great thrill for the back-end staff that probably aren't out there all the time. Obviously, Craig or the top agents can't perform at a level without that back-end. So it's a moment for you to thank, I think, family and those back-end staff that aren't, I guess, always in the limelight.
Yeah, that's a great point. Good point to end it on. Beautiful. We're going to go straight into the real press because we've got some kind of meaty topics today.
So prickly.
Little bit to get through. Hey?
Less prickly.
Less prickly.
Can I start in my restore role if I get a bit bored?
Just don't chew into the mic.
You got any Nexium?
I'll need my Lantern after that, mate.
All right, so I've got some headlines for you. First up, now the topics that we've got today, they kind of fall under the general banner of COVID-19 recovery, I guess. Would you say?
We hope
we can't get away from the topic. Unfortunately, it is what it is. So a couple of headlines we've got here, and we're going to get Chris to bring them up on screen, but these are headlines from back in March. So from the Sydney Morning Herald, we had up to 150,000 Australians could die under a worst case scenario. It's typical, it's, big words, but anyway. So currently, as I checked this morning, actual numbers as of 19th of June, 7,391 total cases, 102 deaths. Cases. 102 deaths in Australia.
Yeah.
And this was from 7 News in March. The Commonwealth Bank has forecast a potential 32% house price crash by 2023 if the pandemic leads to prolonged downturn. CBA's best case is that house prices will fall by 11%, which was in line with what CoreLogic said as well. Okay, so I wanted you guys to comment.
That's on a
nationally. So obviously we're in a much better position than we ever imagined. And again, we'd give a little clap to Scotty for marketing for that. We're through the woods. At the moment, house prices are stable, and if we speak to Craig, they're which we'll cover later. What do you guys think about where we sit and those?
I'll go first, Ross. I know you don't like going first.
That's awesome.
But I guess there's two things there. Media, and we've all seen this, sensationalise everything. No one's going to read. If you read that, I reckon it's probably true. I think over East, especially given the cycle they're going through, 11% is probably in line with what's reality. But I do believe it could have gone 30% if we lost 150,000 lives, no question. But that's not going to sell papers. No one's going to click on that, so we might fall 10%. I mean, we'd take 10% over the last 10 years. Reality of what is. They're still up in Sydney, 90% over 10. I wouldn't mind it pulling back that much. So that's one thing I think is very clear. I think across Australia or the world now, we've started to realise that. Like the media, it is really drummed up because that's what gets people's eyeballs. So I think that's one thing that's probably the most telling thing there.
Yeah, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, would you agree, Shane, that it's all about confidence? Our industry rises and falls on confidence.
Yeah.
And when we hit the pandemic and all the media that went out there around it was all these big numbers. So therefore, it just sucked the confidence out of everybody. And now, as we're resuming back to normality, so to speak, the confidence is returning. And because the confidence had a moment of sort of a real low ebb, it hasn't sort of translated into those losses. But I agree with what Shane said. There are some, the normal real estate cycle in some of the really hot areas of New South Wales and Sydney, the apartment market in particular in Sydney, which was getting to that tipping point anyway. This has just probably sped up what needed to happen anyway. It's a bit of a correction.
Yeah.
WA, we'd already experienced that.
Yeah.
So
we're well and truly through the correction.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So, but it's just, a lot of it has come back to, yes, the media, they pumped all those numbers out. But as I said to someone yesterday, everybody's guessing. Because the world has never had this.
Yeah.
So for all the experts out there, this is what's going to happen. They're just guessing at best because they have nothing to benchmark it from.
Yeah.
So now we're here, we know.
Yeah. So second part of the corona recovery, I guess, that we want to talk about is the construction stimulus that happened. Last time we recorded the show, the federal government had just announced their package, and then that following weekend the state government announced their package. And so this week we've kind of seen news of people lining up out the front of to get their blocks of land, and Perth's running out of land and all of this kind of stuff. I guess obviously a great thing for the construction industry, which is exactly what they were trying to stimulate.
To a degree, I think.
To a degree,
Yeah.
to a degree. What does it mean for the property industry in general?
We'll work down this way. Look, I've spoken to a lot of building reps, and their concern is that there's a lot of people jumping in the industry, like mortgage broker did when we went through our boom. If you remember that. And everyone could be a mortgage broker, much like us. You could be a real estate agent very quickly. They left pretty quickly too. But a lot of people, they haven't rolled out, even to today, there's only an announcement today clarifying a lot of those things. So at the moment, if you speak to the top building consultants who are incredible operators, they're saying all the land's been locked at the moment because of people that are presuming you can just go in there, no deposit, 55 grand, and people are just signing up as many as they can, and then they're just going to put it through the sieve. That's not good for anyone.
No.
And that's what's happening at the moment. I think straight away, I'm going to use an example, had a client that was looking at a block, had everything ready to go, hadn't signed the contract. By Monday, the 55,000 had all come out, but he'd lost the rebate, the Key Start assistance to pay out his car loan, the $30,000 from the builder. So he'd lost 48,000 literally like that, just from a policy change.
Yeah.
Which I understand, because I think the building industry, it's been so cheap to build because it's been so tight. So it's not just the builders jacking the prices, it's filtered down, whether it be the electrician or the brickie, it all comes together. So that's a bit of a concern because straight away they're thinking, well, if it's being pumped out, quality falls. But also the experience and the qualification of someone, if they can really buy. If you can't save 15,000, it's probably not the best idea tomorrow to be buying a home. As it stands now, less than 10,000 you could probably buy. That's a bit of a concern down the track if things don't get better, employment does fall, and those people in those areas where they're built, the oversupply of those new lots and new subdivisions, that's going to be the new normal price. So the established homes are going to continue to pull back.
Because they're just going to force an oversupply straight away.
It's early as well, like we said, like we don't know what's going to happen.
Different to apartments in certain areas, like I use Belmont for example. Zoning went through, everyone went, oh, we can do that, the whole area. Well, it was pretty hard to sell apartments in Belmont. Supply and demand.
Roscoe, anything to add?
I mean, because Shane, I guess from where you work, Shane, a lot of that Gosling type areas, this is probably going to impact on you more than, like for example, Craig. It's not going to impact where he sells. So for you, this is actually a big policy change. For that part of the world.
It's bad for. I think it's bad in the sense that you still want your young buyer to buy a property and do well. And when I see what some of the young kids are buying today, it's not going to end well. So your first home should be in the best area you can afford around the most established things, not necessarily because you can get a theatre room, a double garage, and everything you want. That's not a long-term mentality. You should be treating that first home as if it's your first investment. Unfortunately, it's very hard when you get excited going, I can have this when you see a display home,
Yeah.
then you go see the home and it certainly doesn't look like that. It's very, very hard. You know? But that's human nature.
That's the way it is.
Yeah.
More so today.
Beautiful. All right, thank you for that very much. That's the real press for today. Next up, we are getting into something a little bit lighter. We want to welcome out this week's guest, Craig Gaspar from DUET Property.
Hey,
Now-
mate, look how trendy. He's got the R.M. Wheeling boots on. Like, this guy's an urban cowboy. Look at this. He's the man.
No,
So,
if you saw my feet, I've got bunions in my feet. I need these from a stability point of view.
Yeah, okay, mate, okay.
Nice and
Like
balanced.
it's not summer. So we're obviously filming in Leederville today, so we wanted to get one of the area's best agents, which is Craig Gaspar.
Probably on the state's best agent.
I was going to say number one for value sold in May this year. So we've certainly, and Shane was number one for number of listings. So got the best of the best on today.
I'm feeling very inadequate right now, I've got
Ross,
to
you're
tell
just
you.
here for the looks,
Thanks for coming,
mate.
Ross.
Yeah, I'll just
And the
quietly go
light
off
comedic
set.
value.
Thanks, mate.
So, I guess you sell locally and you live locally as well.
Yes.
Tell us what's so attractive about this area to people.
I guess I stand in home opens every Saturday and tell everyone what a great suburb it is, and it comes down to the community you live. And I often reflect back to if you're living in Sydney or Melbourne and you live 6.5 minutes to the CBD, 6.5 minutes to the beach, you've got train lines, you're surrounded by the best public schools. Why would you live anywhere else?
Yeah.
And we are fortunate. We do have good schools and it's just a gorgeous community. So all my three boys went to the West Leederville Primary, and we formed some fantastic friendship groups, and I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. So,
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Tell us about the demographics in this area, because obviously we're sitting here in this beautiful development and there's a couple more popping up down the road, more larger apartment blocks. But I guess what you sell is more your established family homes, heritage, kind of, there's a lot of that kind of...
The clients that are tending to buy in our area, like, I guess, as busy as it is, people do cap out at certain budgets and different prices, but some of the really nicely renovated character family homes, I'm still achieving 2 million plus, which is incredible, really. But your average buyer through Wembley West Leederville is still sort of 800 to 1.2. But what I'm finding, the people that are coming through, there's a lot of people in medical. We're close to the hospitals, we're close to freeway access, north-south. So if you're up at Joondalup, you're down at Fiona Stanley, and my wife's a nurse, she works down at Fiona Stanley, and it takes her 15 minutes to get to work. So, it's really good from a freeway access point of view, but at the same time. So people that work in the city, you jump on the train or the cat bus. So it's just probably convenience more than anything.
Yeah. Tell us, you were saying before we started filming that you'd had a sale on the weekend, and the figures compared to last year, they bought last year, just sold again.
It's look, I guess like everyone, when COVID first hit, we all got a little bit worried about what might happen next. But there's still people out there wanting to buy. Everyone wants a roof over their head. So you sort of had to go about your business as per usual, although it was by appointment. And I actually enjoyed by appointment because you're actually spending that one-on-one time. And
I feel like every agent has said that.
Yeah, so that was
no question.
That was really, really good. And so you're booking people in at different time slots and spending quality time. And just recently, I've been writing 4 or 5 offers on each property that I've been selling. And I always say to the buyers, the hardest phone call for me to make is ringing someone to say they've missed out.
Yeah.
And so we launched one last Wednesday on Jersey Street in Wembley. They bought it Feb last year for $920, and I ended up writing 5 offers, all very close to each other, and selling for $1,020,000, within a week. And so, but it's not always the case.
No.
I've got one on McCourt Street at the moment. They bought it 5 years ago for 1.52, and most feedback's in the 1.3. So it's the market's still price sensitive, and but to be honest, when I appraised that property, I said around the 1.3, 1.35. I try not to give people false hope because that's just not how you do business.
Yeah.
We spoke about, just again before we went in front of the cameras, You're speaking about how it's sort of the capping out at certain levels.
Yeah, like I always sit down with all my vendors and we all draw pictures, but I draw the triangle and your biggest chunk of buyers are coming in between 800 and 1.2. Then as you slightly go up in the triangle, it's 1.2 to 1.4, then 1.4 to 1.6. And as soon as you start talking 1.4 to 1.6, then 1.6 to 1.8, people that have got more choice. So they're now going, I can buy in Shenton Park, I can buy in Subiaco, I can buy in Nedland, City Beach. So the buyers aren't just going to go, oh, great, I'll pay that. They will look further. And so, and as much as, you know, you can have a good month, it's always followed by a bad one, but you tend to find, I guess, when I look at it, where am I going with this? When you're having, like, you get, I guess, confident about what's going on.
Yeah.
But you've got to just realise that people are still shopping the budget. People are still nervous about what's going on in the world. Like we probably will go into some sort of recession, and there will be unemployment. There will be all sorts of things that will affect us. So that there is going to always be that price sensitivity around, and we've got to be aware of it.
Craig, have you found, like, you're naturally a positive sort of guy? You know, you've got the scars of life and all that carries with it, which is an important thing. So you've been through different things. Do you find now that your role out there as a, not just a realtor, but obviously a lead realtor in your marketplace, people are looking for you for your enthusiasm, for your confidence, for your realities and your guidance more than ever at the moment?
Yeah, I think, but when I first started in the business, it was back in 2011, and 2011 was probably one of the hardest years in real estate in 20 years, and there's something like, I think, 18,000 properties on the market, and so getting the numbers right when you're sitting down and telling someone what their property was worth was probably the most important thing. So I still do that today. I'll still take an hour and a half, 2 hours to do an appraisal and sit down and go in depth about where I see someone's property sit on price. So you will get kicked out of someone's house at times because they don't want to hear what you've told them. But I think the results in my sales is because I try to get the price right, and that's that. So people are so I think honesty is a real big factor around what we're about, and not just going in there and telling people what they want to hear, but just people are looking for that honesty, and you know, the people that hang in there and have longevity in the industry tend to be genuine people.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Tell us just quickly, I know you're an auction agent. I've attended a couple of your auctions. How have you kind of, has that, I mean, obviously you select the properties that you're wanting to go to auction, but have you changed kind of, have you adjusted, I guess?
Look, I want to go back down the path of doing more auctions. I haven't done so. I've done a couple with DUET, but when I was previously with Richard at Cape Horn Young, they were always strong on auctions. And so most of my training came from back there, and sort of I've just sort of kicked on with it. But look, I like auctions because they're open, transparent. You know, I feel it's good for the vendor, and as much as it's good for the buyer. So you know, I've actually worked and I bought a property when Ross was calling an auction one time, and I actually really do. I bought my house at auction.
He actually harassed me halfway through the auction, but we won't say that.
But I do actually really do like the process. You know, probably 85% of properties on the East Coast sell through that process. A lot of agents probably get a bit scared about it, and and it is a nerve-wracking. I get nervous every time I do it, and get worked up because what if no one turns up? What if no one bids? But you tend to find if you run a good campaign, and it is hard work behind the scenes, but if you run a good campaign, I think it works out well for all parties.
Beautiful.
I think with that auction process, but over East, they understand if it doesn't go on the day, and we've spoken about this before, it's not a failed auction.
Yeah,
we've still got this as an owner because you watch the block and everything just sells. You know, I don't know where those bidders go, but over here, it's still that process. I know it sounds a bit boring and mundane to say that, but if you sell in a week and a half's time, it's been a successful campaign.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
At least the owner's got to see real life footage of what's happening.
Yeah.
You put it into perspective. The auction itself is only 15 minutes of a 4-week process.
Yeah,
There's
wish
all
it was
this
that
whole
easy.
thing. But it is in
See you
perspective.
later.
It is. So it's 3 stages. So before, at, or after. You know. Oh, we got auctioning today, Jess. Fantastic. Thanks, Craig. You can come
Did it for
anytime,
you.
mate.
Just a quick
I
one
did it
on like if I look at Shenton Park, and we mentioned how it becomes an option when you get to that sort of price point. When I was growing up, if you made it, you moved to Subiaco for one.
Yeah.
But Shenton Park seemed to be, I guess, the ugly sister. But now, do you think that if you look at West Leederville, that could be the same situation where it's probably, in essence, I think, overtaken Subi to a degree?
Absolutely.
West Leederville prices.
But it wasn't always that way.
Same.
You know, you lived in Shenton Park,
Yeah.
like Subi, but now
Take credit for that.
It's a hidden, real,
people make communities.
hidden little pocket that I think people, Subi, Leederville, Wembley, they forget that it's this amazing little.
And it's so tightly held. To
Yeah,
How
it's
many houses
really
in
tightly
West
held.
Leederville, Craig?
Oh, as in family homes?
Yeah.
There's probably about 800.
It's incredible.
Jeez,
It's
it's
small,
tiny, really.
Yeah,
It's
it's tiny. tiny.
And probably 25, 30 transact a year.
Yeah, so it's
So, yeah.
One day, Craig, I'll buy a house from you in there.
What would the turnover be there as far as people
me
coming to
15
the area?
years.
I know just people have perceptions that probably aren't reality, but people coming to the area, do they tend to stay there, do you feel?
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Well, I moved from our little 3x1 on McCourt Street to St Leonard's because we had one toilet in the bathroom and I've got 3 boys and that was doing my wife's head in. So we moved 400 metres from where...
just so you had another torch so the seat wasn't always up.
Yeah.
On that note,
Yes.
we're going to get to know Craig a little bit better. Roscoe,
Craig, this is the
6
piece,
questions.
this is the piece de resistance of our whole show. This is what people.
This is where I might have to leave.
Mate, no, this is
People
what they.
zoom into it.
I've got an appointment.
This is what they tune in to see. Where's my questions gone, Jess?
they're on.
Page 2. There we go. Okay, so Craig, here we go. So, mate, they say you've got the battle scars of life, which is great.
Yes.
The grey hair to go with it, and all the rest of it. So, mate, they say out of the things that we stuff up, or the things that didn't happen, are where we get our greatest learnings. Like the old saying goes, "Experience is what we get when we don't get what we want."
Yep.
We say, "We're better for the experience," but So, mate, if you think back through life, doesn't have to be real estate, can be pre that. What's been your biggest stuff up? That's probably been your biggest.
I guess one of my like I was in the sports industry for 27 years and I sold a house in Wilding Street in Doubleview to set Sports Fever up in Subi, and we set that up in 2000 and then we end up opening a shop in Cottesloe and then we opened another one in Applecross and then Inglewood and then we unfortunately opened one in the NX 100 building in the city and unfortunately it put me under a fair bit of financial pressure and probably through the back end of 2010 I wasn't able to draw an income out of the business and had accumulated a fair bit of debt from the business, so I had to walk away from that business, a business that I absolutely loved, at the end of 2010 and start life again, and that was a tough time. I actually had to go and see a site. It was a really, really tough time.
Yeah.
3 boys, 5 and under, and so that was probably my biggest stuff up, although it sort of left me quite well connected. I used to fit out a lot of great people that I still meet today and ask me to help them with their property and that sort of thing. So, but it was an incredible time. My first year in real estate, I was working 3 jobs and I was consulting for ASICS. I was working at the Berg Shoes, selling men's dress shoes on a Friday night and a Sunday, and
Wow.
Incredible.
and trying to make a go of it in the world of real estate. So it's been an interesting time to get where I got. And as I say to people, if real estate was easy, everyone would do it. But it's a journey.
Wow, what a story.
Sorry to butt in, but I actually also worked in a sports shop.
Did you?
And I got salesperson here selling ASICs. So it must be about if you're willing to get on your feet and put someone's shoe on, you're willing to do most things in life.
Mate, the only shoes I put on before real estate were work boots when I was a diesel mechanic in the bush.
I didn't know. That's a really good story. Out of that process, what did you learn? But what is the key learning you had out of it?
Don't get too big.
Also,
We specialised in fitting shoes. I had a lot of podiatrists and physios refer people to our business, and I think if we still just had the one shop in Subi today, I probably wouldn't be sitting here today.
Totally.
So
I just want to add to that, it is Men's Health Week this week, so I want to applaud you for saying that you spoke to someone and, that's what everyone should do if they feel like they need it.
100%. Absolutely, absolutely.
That's a great story, that.
Yeah, no, it's an awesome story, mate. And I guess, as you said then, Craig, it's a lot in real estate. It's one of those things. People they all want to grow, but it's defining what growth is, and make sure you have that growth consolidate. And not all growth leads to profit, or not all growth leads to growth.
Yeah.
So you just got to temper that. But mate, well done. Thanks for sharing. Okay, mate. 3 things you wouldn't leave home without with.
Like, that's a toughie.
Every real estate agent has the same answer. Go for it.
It depends where I'm going.
Okay.
Like,
Every day you get up, go to work. What's 3 things you go?
obviously you take the phone.
Everything's
The
close to
laptop.
West Leedy, so he just walks.
Yes.
Yeah.
6.5 minutes.
He just walks.
It is. It's 6 minutes everywhere.
Okay.
Look, it depends where I'm going. Like, if I'm going to drink beers on someone's front verge, it's a 6-pack. If it's to go into work, which is 7 days a week anyway, but it's obviously the phone, the laptop, and
Do you work from an office mainly?
yeah, I tend to still go into DUET
Yep.
most days,
Yep.
but a lot of our business is staying in people's lounge rooms.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So, look, when I read that question and got sent through, I was always going to stumble there. So.
That's right, mate. That's right. That's okay. Okay. And the good answer is if your wife watches this. And the other thing I leave home with is an empty heart because my wife's. That always works, mate.
She'd put a finger down her throat. There's no romance in our house, mate.
Okay, we'll move right on. So therefore, then I'll ask the next
With
question.
3 boys.
What's your worst habit, mate?
Again, I don't want my wife watching, so gambling, drinking. No.
Mate, when you're not at work, where will we find you? When you're not doing the world of real estate, what do you do?
Look, I have got 3 boys. Unfortunately, I said this to Ross earlier, there's a contradiction in real estate. You work hard to provide for your family, but you never get to see your family. So if there's never the opportunity, I love going and watching them play sport. Like they've got PSA this afternoon, so try and watch them play a bit of sport. If I'm not doing that, we've got a couple of rescue dogs, walk the dogs early in the morning. At night, I've got within the community, I've got a little group. We have our Verges on a Wednesday night where we'll and it's fantastic. We'll meet on the McCourt Street Verge and have a couple of beers, and it's like Men's Health Week. You get a lot off your chest, and we have a good chat. So
I love that.
Yeah, the Verges that we've been doing. I know it's been a big thing since COVID, but it's been a big thing on our virtual.
Other verges.
There you go.
Cross.
West Leederville.
Yeah,
Be careful.
Place to be. Do they do that down in Gossies, mate?
No, well,
It
they've
means
got the
something
men's shed,
different
one of the
in
best
Gosnells.
men's sheds you'll ever see.
Okay.
One of the best men's sheds.
Virgin
you'll ever
That's
see.
means
we
something
should film
different
down
in
there one day.
Gosnells.
The men's shed
Yeah,
in
that's a good
Gossies.
idea. I like that.
Yeah. Mate, what's the one saying, the most overused saying when people say, you go, cringeworthy, there's all these colloquialisms that come out. What's something someone says that can just...
I thought you said what's my most
Or your own.
saying, and I always say 6.5 minutes from everywhere.
No, we've worked that one out.
And that probably is my most used saying. That people in the office actually laugh at me now.
Is that what you say to your wife?
There will be agents all over Perth going, it's only 48 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Cringe. There's a lot of cringy things said, but again.
We like it, it's just not for us.
You mean people say
No,
to
anything.
me.
Yeah. What's something someone says to you during the course of even real estate? We'll think about it, or what's the one thing you go?
Food for thought.
Yeah.
Craig's too nice.
Yeah, I
He's
must
getting annoyed. He's got 3 boys.
Yeah.
He's used to it.
I guess.
Dad,
Yeah,
can I have some money?
No, and I'll pay you back.
The thing that gets me the most is them playing Fortnite, but that's probably not cringy. But
I've heard that.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
And mate, last question, the most important question of the whole day. This is Shane and I put this in there because it's our guide, isn't it, mate? So
That's why you're here.
Yeah, this is why you're here. Best place to get a meal. What's your favourite go-to for a restaurant or a meal?
Look, I've got to be honest. We don't go out a lot.
Yeah.
We've got a little place that's just opened down the road from us called DUET, and it's they do. He used to be the head chef at Ria, and him and his wife have had a crack, and they've opened this little place in the West Leederville Shopping Centre. So often if we've had a busy Saturday, we'll walk down with a bottle of wine and a few beers.
So that's where he's gone from Ria to this.
Yeah, and it's fantastic. And
what
it's only
cuisine?
tiny. Yeah, sort of Asian.
Yeah.
Say again, what's
Malaysian.
it called? I'm just going to write that one down.
Fugu 8.
Fugu
FUGU8. That's fantastic. A little thing on which I've just been and often go with the Veggie Boys sometimes, but on there's a little place behind Enzo's in Growth Real Estate in Subi.
Oh, the shed there.
Behind there's a place called Community Coffee, and on a Friday they have the spit going, and they do the best gyros you'll ever get. And they're a fantastic gyros, so that's a great Friday lunch tip.
You've ruined
These
it.
are
There's going to be
sneaky
lines
little-
there.
It's like the men's shed, that place.
Sneaky little
No,
community
it is.
tips.
It is
Really
very good. But and look, I'm not ashamed to say that we still, I still meet my brother and his kids on a Sunday night at the Wembley Food Court.
Beautiful.
41D.
Yeah, that's good, mate.
No,
Beautiful.
but I probably don't take my wife out enough, sadly. But
It's on tape
After
now.
today, mate, you know that's going to have to be fixed up.
I like the
Thanks,
was
mate.
it the Virgies? You call it?
veggies.
That's a cracking name.
Yeah, that's good, mate, isn't it?
A
Yeah.
couple of good tips there.
Yeah. Mate, you're just an encyclopedia of stuff.
I should have brought a notepad.
Yeah. No, Jess.
I've got it.
No, yeah.
I've got it.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's it. That's it for us
Cool.
today. Another big show. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for your time, Craig.
Pleasure.
Thanks to Jason for his time, and of course to the team behind Aston 238 Student International for hosting us today.
Yeah.
We don't have a home for the next show just yet, but we're not filming for another month, so keep an eye out. As always, if you want us to talk about anything, if you've got a hood highlight that you want to nominate, please let us know in the comments on the Facebook video, and we will do our best to accommodate. We release via podcast as well, so look us up on wherever you listen to your podcast at. And that is it. Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Thanks, Craig.
Thanks, Craig. Thank you.